Hey TJ, how are you
Hello.
doing? What's new?
What is new with me? Well, my son got a haircut and he looks older, and my wife hates it because he looks older. So
Aww.
she's like, he's not a toddler, even though he's like,
Was he good for the haircut?
yeah, he did pretty good from what she was telling me. He got a sucker from the hair place we went to, and he ate it on the way home, and she didn't know that he ate it. She's like, man, he's really quiet. He's not like fussing. And she gets pulling in the driveway, and she's home, and she opens the door. He's got blue lips, and he's just smiling. And so,
Is he still in the rear facing?
yeah, rear
Okay, yes, so
facing.
you can't see him. Yeah.
Yeah, so she couldn't see him, but she gets home, and he's just like, all that sugar. It's fine,
It's
whatever.
funny.
The only young ones, I guess. How about you?
Not too much new. We're going on a little backpacking trip in a couple of days, so I'm excited about that. But otherwise, things are just kind of sailing along like they normally would.
Are you going on a long backpacking trip? How long is it? Is it a
This
weekend?
it's just a couple days, and actually I shouldn't even call it backpacking because we're gonna be right by the car. At this time of the year, it's just with the weather is too iffy, so we
It's
don't
too
tend to
muddy, probably
yes
too. Yeah.
we don't tend to backpack, but we'll be doing a lot of hiking and so we're looking forward to that. It's our first trip out for the year,
Oh, cool. Yeah, that'd be fun.
so yeah, and no, today I had a great workout today. I killed it today, and so that's actually what we're going to talk about today is sort of what we feel is maybe the best exercise program.
Sure.
So in the last episode, we talked about redefining fitness and the four basic measures of fitness, which are cardiovascular, muscular strength, and muscular endurance, flexibility, and body composition. So if you didn't listen to that podcast, we're going to link it in the show notes below. Make sure that you go listen to that because this one will make a little bit more sense. But we kind of left off at what we feel might be the best, quote unquote, the best exercise program. And so I had to do like a Google search on the words best exercise program, and I got 436 million results.
So, in those million results, have you ever searched that yourself? Like just out of curiosity
um,
to build your own program?
I yes, I think I don't know if I've termed it that way for me because I love the weight training. I've done a few searches I know like for best weight training program
Sure.
or best weight training program for fat loss kind of
Okay.
thing.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
how about you?
Yeah. Same thing. Maybe it would be like best way to get my biceps bigger or something stupid
Right?
or whatever. But I think everybody, maybe wants that, one exercise program that's proven to work, and you're just looking for that. But if you see 436 million results,
Right.
I'm pretty sure it's going to be hard to weed the good ones from the bad ones.
Yeah, and I mean, you and I are both trained in, I guess, exercise science a
We're
little bit.
gurus.
Right, we are gurus.
Yeah,
We went to school together for personal training, and so we know quite a bit. And so what I like to do when I search something like that is I just like to find new ideas and things that I could add to the
sure.
programs that I already sort of create for myself, maybe get fresh ideas or fresh takes on things. And so that's usually why I'm searching. But I think, when you see that, like, oh my gosh, 436 million results for just that one phrase of best exercise program, I think it's probably safe to say that there's a lot of different opinions on what constitutes the best exercise program. And I think what our listeners are going to learn today is really no different. These our ideal exercise programs are probably going to be different. Like
Sure.
yours will be different than mine, and these are really only our opinions, not these like what we're going to say is not necessarily what we would recommend for you to do.
Yeah, and it's going to
Um,
vary on your age, your you know body composition, all those different factors that you're going to definitely take in consideration when developing this program. And you don't want to go from being a couch potato to being an elite athlete, because you cannot do what they do, especially at their intensity. You might be able to do back squats, bench press, but you're not gonna be like, oh, you did 225 for 20 reps. Day one, that's what I'm gonna do.
Right.
It's not gonna work.
Right. Exactly.
It's gonna
And
land on your throat.
I get a lot of women will ask, well, what weight should I use to start? And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, honestly, I don't know. You've got to go into the weight room and you've got to start by picking up the fives and see if that's too easy for you. If you get to the end of like your rep range, let's say you want to do 10 bicep curls and it's easy, like you could do 5 more after you do 10, then you probably need to increase the weight a little bit. You have to, that's going to be individual. So like, when I'm squatting, I'm going to be squatting way more than a beginner because I've been squatting for a long time.
Right.
So yes, it's very individual. So what do you think are a few things that people should consider before trying to decide on like the best exercise program for them, or when they're looking for these things?
Sure. So I would definitely consider for myself, age is going to be a big one
Right.
because and age comes with a bunch of different things, health status limitations. If you have any pre-existing injuries, stuff like that, you obviously want to take that in consideration. Um, what are your goals? If your goal is to lose weight, build muscle, flexibility, whatever, it's obviously going to vary between the individual. I know that's definitely important, especially with people January 1, they get an exercise program, whether it's from a trainer at a gym. I hope they know what they're talking about, or you just look it up online. But unless you get it from someone that you can physically see and they know what they're looking at, you can't just pull something offline and think it's going to work.
Yeah, that's when I get somebody who comes in and they want me to do a program for them, like especially if it's the type of program that they want to do on their own. I mean, I take them through a comprehensive movement screen and a fitness assessment, and I tell them whether or not I feel like an exercise program doing it on their own is appropriate.
Sure.
So,
I think I've written a couple workouts for my client. I'll just use one of my clients recently. And the only machines that we use are the ones that we've done.
yeah,
And it's the same weights that we use, same everything. So she already knows what she's doing.
right.
And then we'll do some different stuff. But if she came to me and she's like, yeah, I want a workout program. My name is, I'll call her Carol. That's not her name. But and she wants a workout program, unless I see them or maybe know a bit of background, I'm more than likely not going to write anything up. Or I'm just going to write something like, hey, do some body weight squats and some
Yeah.
push-ups, because I mean, they're at risk for injury, and especially if you don't know.
Right, right. And I mean, like I said, there is a lot of information online, and it's all free. But you have to be careful if you've never done any exercise or if you've never lifted weights before. You do have to be careful, and that is why people hire trainers. That's why they come to us.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, um, what was there anything else that you think people should consider?
I know. I think we talked about the goals, right?
Yeah.
That's going to be one too. Is how fast do you think you can reach those goals? If you think it's going to be 3 weeks from today, I'm gonna lose 20 pounds. That is not going to happen. Especially even with the one podcast we talked about the diet or pill 3 days
Oh
11-pound
yes,
things.
yeah, like lose 11 pounds in 2 days.
That's a fallacy.
Yes, which
But
is
yeah, it just has to be what like we learn in school. It has to be a SMART goal.
well, and you figure like when it comes to talking about like the goal thing is important because I don't know. Do you find that an exercise program for somebody who just wants to get healthy is going to be different for somebody who like wants to compete in a triathlon?
Sure. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I
You know,
mean, triathlon. I don't actually. I can say I have never trained a
I
triathlon.
have.
You have, but I mean,
I
you're.
I don't have very many positive things to say about
Yeah.
that.
But if you are just general fitness, it's just basically getting to the gym 3 days a week. Whether that's cardio or weights or the combination of both. I think that's generally going to be most people, especially if they're just looking to increase their overall health. But if it's like sports specific,
Right.
golfers, I trained a golfer a while back, or, triathlons, obviously going to differ between the
Right.
two. Yeah,
Right. So it's, that's a big consideration for people who are looking for an exercise program is like, what's your end goal?
exactly. Yeah. What does that look like? Yeah.
Right. The other thing, like, and I don't know if you do this, but so I mean, I tend to, when I train people, it tends to be a very specific, I like to do weight training. I feel like it gives people a lot of bang for their buck, but I do get people who come to me and they come for a little bit and then you can just tell it's not their thing, like they hate it. So,
Yeah, I've had a few times where, not recently, but I know that when they get there, I'm like, hey, we're doing this. And they're just like, oh my God.
right.
Like inchworms, that was my biggest thing.
Oh gosh.
I was like, hey, guess what we're doing today?
My clients hate those.
Guess what we're doing? Inchworms. And they're,
Those and burpees.
yeah, and their face is just like, you have got to be kidding me.
I sort of get it because I really find I find inchworms tedious. I don't like doing them either.
I don't do them. I make them do
You
them.
just make them do them.
Yeah, I don't do them.
So I think a really important consideration, and what I think this is something that most people probably don't take enough time to consider, is your own thoughts and feelings about exercise. And so when I talk to a group about exercise, I typically will start asking them questions that they may not answer back to me, but I'm like, think about these things in your head. So it's like a simple a self questionnaire that can help you determine like, okay, what might be the best form of exercise for me? Because honestly, I mean, TJ, you and I can tell everybody, all of our listeners, like what we feel is the perfect exercise program. But if it's something that somebody's not going to stick with, then it's not the perfect exercise program.
Exactly.
So, like the questions I ask to help people decide how they feel about exercise or find something that's going to work for them is ask questions like, do I like to work out in a group or alone? If you like the group atmosphere, something like Zumba or CrossFit or, that type of thing might be something that would work better for you than like, just having a trainer write you a program where you have to do it yourself.
And I think with the group aspect, you get a lot of encouragement, and that's sometimes
Yeah.
what people need, or just that challenge of, if you go to a CrossFit gym, they're, oh, this person's like 3 burpees ahead of me. I'm going to try to, keep up with
Right.
that person.
There's that motivation. So some people really thrive on that, and I don't. I hate group classes. I like to work out by myself.
I like it, except when the girl is beating me and I'm just like over there dying. I'm doing
Right.
more weight and stuff, but she's just flooring me. I'm just like, oh my God, how are you? And this was years ago. Not that long ago.
Oh, so
It was like 3 years
it
ago.
was like yesterday.
Yeah, it was
Right,
yesterday.
right.
But yeah, but it's always fun. I mean, I experienced CrossFit firsthand. It's fun. But when you're doing it with like 3 other women and like 4 or 3 other women are beating you, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm terrible.
I find those environments intimidating, and even though it does cause me to push myself, I don't enjoy it, and I have never to date I have never stuck with a group fitness program. So I just know that, again, that's something that I know about myself, and it helps me choose the right thing.
Sure.
So, another thing, am I self motivated or am I not? If you are a self motivated person, you could probably go to a trainer and say, hey, write me up a program for fat loss, or I want to run a triathlon or a marathon. And I can go, I will take your program and I'm going to make it happen. But a lot of people, they hire a trainer because they need the appointment.
Oh yeah.
They're not going to show up for their own workout unless they have the appointment and they've spent the money.
Yeah, unless they're just disciplined enough just to do it themselves. But like you said, yeah,
Right, but you have to know that about yourself.
and a lot of people, I totally agree with that. If they don't have the appointment set, they're not going to come.
Right, right. The next question that people could ask is, Do I have a health problem that needs to be managed when I exercise? So, again, that's going to help you make a decision. So, in a lot of cases, group classes are not great if you have some significant health problems that could be aggravated by exercise. So, things like arthritis, or you have heart disease, you have had a knee replacement or a hip replacement. Those are instances where you might want to consider working with a trainer for a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
because those things have to be managed. So, but if you have no health restrictions, then you have a little bit more leeway to decide what you might want to do.
And I will initiate a boo boo. I trained my sister in law. I think she passed out at a concert a
Oh
few
my
months
gosh.
ago, and so it was just a one time thing. It's never happened before, so she's probably well. I talked about this on our podcast, but I trained her. I took her through like the normal first day leg workout that I'd done with a bunch of clients, and she actually passed out.
Wow.
But I think it's because she has hypoglycemia. I think it
Oh,
is.
yes. Okay.
Yeah, low blood sugar.
Yep.
Basically,
Yep.
within a couple minutes she was back on her feet.
Right.
But yeah, even if you're negligent like I was in that situation, because I didn't think it would happen again, but it's definitely something to make sure that
Did she know about it?
it was a one time thing. It was at a concert she went to.
Huh.
She's been to plenty of concerts before then. It just happened one time. So you're like, okay, maybe I didn't eat today as good as I should, or something
Right.
weird
Right. Right.
situationally. I've had it to where I've not passed out, but you get so lightheaded, you just need to
Yes.
sit down. But it just happened again.
And I don't even know, like, I mean, I guess if you knew about it ahead of time and it had been like a recurring issue, then you could consider that negligent. But in a lot of cases, I don't know if I've had the same thing happen in my studio
Hmm.
where, and I didn't know that the person had an issue with blood sugar or blood pressure can also cause it.
Right.
And I've had a couple of instances where, maybe we pushed too hard in the beginning and they felt either really dizzy or like they were going to be sick.
Yeah, nauseous.
And
Yeah.
obviously, I mean, I try to avoid that kind of thing.
Hmm.
You don't want people passing out in your studio or vomiting. I don't think those are good things. Um, but in a lot of cases, you just don't really know those
Exactly.
things in
Right.
advance. I actually just recently started taking blood pressure before, like during the first interview that I do with a potential client. I just started doing blood pressure
Okay.
because, if blood pressure is too high or tends to be too low for, depending on the person, that can affect. If their blood pressure is high, I'm going to send them away and be like, yeah, no, you got to go to a doctor and you got to get that checked out.
Right.
Um, but if it's too low, then at least I know, like, okay, if this person experiences some dizziness, maybe we need to take it easy, especially initially. So,
Sure.
just another couple of quick questions you can ask yourself. When am I most likely to work out? Do I prefer morning, afternoon, or evening workouts? What is my favorite form of movement that doesn't necessarily have to be formal exercise? So maybe you like hiking or kayaking or biking or, biking outside, whatever. So all of those questions can help you decide what kind of exercise is going to be best for you and what's going to, more crucially, what's going to help you come back for more, because doing something that you hate doesn't work, or something that doesn't work with your schedule, it's not something you're going to stick with. So anyway, I still do get people constantly asking what's the best exercise program. If there was, they'll be like, well, I know what you're going to say. You're going to say whatever, the cliche thing, whatever thing you will do most consistently. But they want to know, if there was an ideal, a quote unquote ideal exercise program, what would that look like? So TJ, what would that look like for you? Like, what's an ideal exercise program?
So I'm going to use mine.
Okay.
I'll use an example for mine. So, like I've stated before, I get up 4:30. I'm on the bike for like 15 minutes, and then I do 50 squats, 50 push-ups, 50 crunches every day.
Wow.
Okay, and that's not in a row. It could be in a row if I really wanted to push it, but some mornings I'm like, I don't want to. So that's what I do in the mornings. Now, for an ideal workout, my goal is to be in and out within 35 minutes.
Right.
Um, So whatever that looks like for you, um, go with it. But this is what it looks like for me. So 3 days a week, I'll do strength training work. 3 days a week, I'll do more of endurance work. I'll just take through one of each day. So let's just say Monday is leg day. I do a back squat, 5 sets of 5. I'll do leg extensions. I'll do hamstring work. I'll do calves. And then I think that's it. So that's only what, 4 exercises.
Right.
And then I do cardio. I'm done. I'm sweating.
Right.
I'm my heart rate's elevated. I get more done than the person that's on the bench press talking for 15 minutes. But my goal is to keep the rest time as low as possible, being able to recover consistently, but not taking so much time to where you get lost in a train of thought. You've been sitting on a machine for 5 minutes and you've only
Right.
done one set.
Right. But that's you would say that like the people who are doing that like super long rest break, I mean, that's a very specific program.
Yeah, so like strength programs, you want
Yes.
to do it longer.
So
Um,
for somebody who's like you're saying like what your program, the best program for you is, like what is your program, like who would that really fit? Like what was your goal?
so my goal is just weight loss.
Right. Okay.
That's all it
Okay.
is. So my goal is just to get in, do the work, get out. Um, and the reason I even do short rests on the 5x5. So
Okay.
the weight's not crazy heavy because I haven't squatted heavy in a very long time. But I'll do 5. I'll count to my head 20 seconds and go again. A lot of it has to do with the recovery. How fast can I actually recover to actually do another set? And I think with the shorter rest periods, you're going to tap into ATP, and we can cover that
Right.
a later time. That's going to restore a little bit, but you're tapping into your glycogen because so Monday is the day after I've had all those cookies and everything else. So I'm obviously going to tap into that first, anyways.
Right.
So I'll be a little bit more explosive for at least 2 to 3 days.
Right.
So that's generally how I do that, and then obviously wrap it up with a 1-to-1 ratio. So a slow 30 and a fast 30 on a bike or a
Yep.
treadmill or whatever. But
Yep.
that's generally how my strength days look. I'm not looking to get stronger. I'm looking to maintain what I have. If I get stronger in certain areas, great. But I'm not at that age where my goal is to squat 500 pounds.
Right. Right.
It's more of like get the weight off, and then if I'm down to where I want to be and the body fat I want to be, then I'll explore other things. But
Right.
that's what
Right.
I'm doing right now. Yeah.
So, and that's great because I think that sort of gives people an idea of a program that would, since so many people want to lose weight or lose fat,
Right.
that's a really good idea on a program that can help you
Yeah,
do
and I've
that.
I've told my sister-in-law and my wife, they're like, "Hey, write me up a workout program." I'm like, "Okay, how about this? I want you to go in. I want you to do 50 reps on the leg press, leg extension, hamstring curl, and calves. That's it.
Right.
And that they're fine. They're sore a little bit, they're a little exhausted. But my wife told me, she's like, I love it because I'm in there, I get the work done, and I'm out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing to get done and be able to enjoy your life instead of being a slave to the gym, because we both know that you don't burn all the fat and all the calories in the gym anyways.
Right, exactly. There's so many more things that go into that, and I think it's also important to note that sometimes when it comes to exercise, more, we've got this idea that more is better,
Hmm.
and I think both of us have found that we learned the hard way that more is not
Yeah,
better.
I think less is better.
Yes,
I think Jason Statham, the actor, he's like, if you go in, crush it for 45 minutes and get out, that's going to be better than just screwing around
absolutely.
for 2 hours.
And when you start reading like the fitness books that are the newer ones that are coming out, and almost all of the professionals now are coming out and saying that, especially in guys, I'm sure it's true for guys too, but since I tend to focus more on women, for women especially, because your hormones are so our hormones are so delicate, workouts that last more than 45 minutes or an hour can long term be very detrimental to your hormone balance.
Really?
And
Wow.
I found that, I personally found that out the hard way because I was consistently, like when I was doing the triathlon, that's why I'm not a huge fan of triathlons, but when I was doing triathlons, I was working out 2 a days, sometimes 2 hours at a time. And yeah, there is a wasp in here with us. So if our listeners hear some shifting around and some screaming, that's probably why. So
It's me screaming, though. It's okay.
are you allergic?
No.
Okay, good. I'm not either.
I
So
don't want to get stung.
right, nobody wants to get stung. But
Anyways, back to the exercise program. So what do you do right now, Kelly?
so I mean, I'll tell the listeners what I do, but I'm going to take a slightly different vein than you did. And I'm going to tell them like what I would tell a beginning exerciser to do. Or basically what I would say is an ideal program for somebody who's looking just to get healthy and fit. And now there's a stink bug that is going to meet the
It's
wasp.
pestering him. I
Yes,
don't
I
like
know
that.
this. We're doing this podcast from my house, which is built in the late 1800s. And yeah, we get lots of critters in here. So anyway, I will tell the listeners though what I kind of do. So I think I mentioned last time that I'm doing this 5x5 program.
Mm-hmm.
I did have to modify it because doing heavy squats 3 days a week just wasn't going to be good for my knees. I was starting to have some issues. But so what I basically do is on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday are my lifting days. All 3 days are full body. But focus, like you said, I try and be out of the gym within 45 minutes. And so I focus on the big. Oh, you got it. All right. I focus on the big lifts. So that would be squat, overhead press, row, um, deadlift, and bench press. So I actually do that program. I do that on Monday and Wednesday. And then usually on Friday, I do some type of a body weight thing because, again, if I'm pretty much killing myself on Mondays and Wednesdays. And so Friday is a little bit of a lighter day for me. And then I have the weekend to recover. And then, Monday I'm able to go at it hard again. And as far as like the cardio component, like right now, my main goals are just to be stronger, but also to not like make, not, I don't want to cause problems for my body. So I want to be strong, but I'm being smart about it.
Right.
As far as cardio, I'm not necessarily trying to increase my my endurance or anything. So because my lift sessions are so intense and heavy, I mostly just do walking on the other days of the week. So on the weekends, I might go on a hike or something a little bit longer, but I'm not really doing any running or anything like that anymore. So it's all walking. So anyway, but I do, because again, what the question that I get the most is like, what's going to be the best workout program? And I like to base it for beginners because I do work mostly with people who are in the beginning stages of fitness. And so again, I know this is cliche. My first response is always the best form of exercise is whatever you're going to do consistently, which typically makes people mad.
Right.
Because they just want me to tell them what to do so that they can go not do it.
Yeah, exactly. If we knew exactly what one program that would work, we'd give it to everybody.
Well, right. And like I said, I'm going to go through what I feel like would be the ideal program for most beginners. But again, I'm going to tell you all this information and what are the chances that, you're actually going to go do it.
Right.
But like I said, I have no problem telling people what I think is an ideal exercise program for health. I'm gonna say that it's for health and maintenance of a healthy weight. So
and we do hope that you go do this.
Right, I do.
Yes.
So again, what I'm about to say could be debatable. I'm still mostly an advocate for doing any kind of movement that makes you happy and that you'll do consistently. But if you're looking for like the pipe dream perfect program for health and wellness, here's what I think that might look like. I base this off of how our ancient ancestors probably lived their lives. So obviously none of us are going to go live out in a cave again, but I do like to base my fitness principles on how humans are meant to move. So Our ancestors walked between 5 and 10 miles every day. So, number one component of a healthy human body is walking, just straight up walking, at least 5 miles a day, preferably outdoors. Next, our ancestors occasionally had to lift heavy shit like logs or hoist themselves into a tree to escape a predator or get some honey or something like that. So, strength training would be component number 2 that makes a healthy human. So, our ancestors probably didn't hit the gym to like lift weights, right? It is something that we need to do intentionally because in our modern environment, there are very few instances where we're lifting heavy stuff anymore.
Right. Unless you're FedEx driver or something like that.
Well, right, exactly. So there's certain instances, but for the most part, the average person is not lifting anything heavy. They don't have great range of motion anymore through their joints. So we have to do this more intentionally. And I would say 2 to 3 full body weight training sessions per week is the way to go for basic health. And if you need help with that, then you need to, find a friend who knows what they're doing, or you need to hire a trainer, at least initially, to help you. Finally, our ancestors occasionally had to do things like sprint, and I don't know if you can hear this in the background, but again, there's always an animal making noise here. But we have a chicken that's crowing in the background.
Doing something.
Anyway, okay, maybe I'll just close this window. Oh, I can't get it. That's all right.
Don't worry about it.
All right. Our ancestors occasionally had to sprint, like all out sprint to get away from something or chase something down. So, like a chicken. I experienced this actually a few weeks ago when our puppy decided that she was going to run down the road. So I used some serious fast twitch muscle fibers that day to chase her down. But this makes doing speed work like track sprints or bike sprints or rowing sprints. And I think you talked about this a minute ago. You were doing intervals. Did you say like 30 by 30 or something?
Yeah, so 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off. So 30 seconds slow, 30 seconds fast.
Right.
Yeah, and that could vary for person to person. Yeah.
Which, by the way, is a very efficient way to do cardio and burn fat.
Unless I'm lazy that day, I'm just like burned out.
I love intervals, and it's if you get to the point where you like intervals, it's easy to overdo them. So, but that type of thing, like these, short, these brief sprints, like all-out sprints, would be number 3 of a healthy human. And this would typically be only 2 sessions per week, and ideally on the same days that you weight train. And the reason that I do those on the same day that I would do those on the same day I weight train is because both weight training and sprint intervals are really tough on your body, and you need the other days of the week to recover from that stuff. And so if you were doing your weight training and your sprints on opposite days, then you're always doing high intensity work.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have time to recover at all.
And then like the last thing I sort of want to make here, and we have to do the disclaimer, right?
Always.
Right.
Yeah.
Remember that you need to be in good health and free of joint, skeletal, and muscular issues to safely perform sprints, train with weight, pretty much any kind of exercise, even walking, depending on what issues you may have. If you are not sure, you should see your doctor for clearance, and then you should hire a trainer or, find a friend who's well-versed in exercise. Because again, these things, if you're not prepared for these things, you can injure yourself or even potentially worse. So I don't know. Do you have anything to add to that, TJ?
No, I think that's really much it. I mean, we covered everything that we think would be beneficial to you, what our current routines are, and then obviously, with taking health considerations and everything else, hopefully you guys will take what we said with a grain of salt, obviously, and, explore some things online. Hopefully you're not looking at 436 million results to get to that point.
If you find the perfect exercise program, let us know.
Sounds good, guys.
Bye.
This is the Initiative Project podcast, and we will see you next time. If you like what you hear, please comment, subscribe, push that like and notification button on YouTube. That would be great. See you next time, guys.